Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into an emotional roller coaster with an audio work titled All Good Things Must Come to an End, especially when you've been cheated on. This is a story about love, betrayal, and the kind of heartbreak that shakes you to your core. Prepare to step into a world where raw emotions run high, where trust is shattered in an instant, and where our protagonist faces the painful realization that some wounds cut too deep to heal. As the tension rises, you'll feel every ounce of anger, sorrow, and regret woven into this gripping tale. So sit back, listen closely, and let yourself be drawn into a story that proves not all endings are happy, but sometimes they're exactly what we need.
Please, please just turn around so we can talk. His voice cracked, increasing an octave as he softly begged you. He sounded like he was on the verge of crying. The mere idea of that would have incredibly concerned you before, making you move to hug him tightly and comfort him, but in this particular moment you couldn't care less. No, quite the opposite, in fact. You were absolutely seething. Sucking in heavy, burning breaths, you yanked your wrist out of his vice-like grip, twisting yourself away from him so you wouldn't have to face him. Because right now, that damn face of his was the very last thing you wanted to see. "Don't you dare fucking touch me, Hargrove!" You were shaking, arms wrapping around yourself, feeling so insignificant and microscopically small as you huffed, tears welling in your eyes. God, you didn't want to be crying in front of him right now, but you just couldn't stop the overwhelming influx of swelling emotions. You wished the grassy ground beneath you would just open up and swallow you whole, as you wanted nothing more than to disappear. From him, from this shitty town, and most of all, from this situation. You had discovered he was having a fling with Heather. Fucking Holloway. She was a girl that never really got along with you anyway, but her disliking of you, as well as really every other girl in Hawkins, had really amped up when you snagged Billy as your official boyfriend and ever-so-charming arm candy. She did everything she could to stick herself to the back of your mind with her petty insults and rumors, becoming a nuisance at school, and now outside of it, too. You knew Billy and she had a fling or two in the past. He had been very open and honest with you about the rumors and what was fact or fiction when you initially got together. Though you didn't care about his past girls because, well, it was in the past, and you were the one with him now. You trusted him and knew, or at least were under the impression, that he loved you very much. Too much to cheat, at the very least. What a joke. Although you hadn't given too much thought to her being his co-worker after he got the job as a lifeguard at the community pool, you wished you had reacted like other girls in relationships would have when their partners were around their exes. You wished you would have thrown an uncharacteristic fit and told him to find another job that wouldn't include him being around any girls from his past. Because maybe, just maybe, if you had, you wouldn't have to be dealing with the immense pain and heartache of his betrayal. You cursed yourself for falling so head over heels for him and hated yourself for trusting him as much as you did. In a way, it felt like you brought this upon yourself for being with him in the first place. Once a player, always a player. You were a fool to think otherwise. Despite your harshly tongued command for him to keep his hands to himself, he didn't care. He brushed off your words like water falling past his back as he reached out to place his hand atop your shoulder, fingers clenching at the soft skin exposed from your cutout shirt. You hated how his touch still brought that familiarly delicious, enticingly electric current spiking through your veins, regardless of how much you hated his guts right now. He didn't deserve to have such power over you. A queasy feeling plucked at your belly as you moved one hand up from your bicep to pick up his index finger as if it were a stray piece of lint, throwing his hand off your shoulder and back toward his own body. I already knew you were stupid, but are you deaf now too? I said, "Don't touch me." His breath hitched behind you as you belittled him, though it did nothing but spur you on. You felt powerful, wanting to use his vulnerability to your advantage to cause him as much pain as he had caused you. But that wouldn't be possible. There was no way your words could ever replicate or match up to the searing pain of his actions. After a moment, you finally mustered up enough courage to pivot on your heels so that you could lock eyes with him. You wanted him to not only hear your words, but see them leave your red-painted lips so there wouldn't be any mistaking them. I should have never started dating you. This is all my fault. Everybody and their mother warned me not to, that you would just hurt me in the end because that's all you've ever been good for, hurting people. But I was so naive and thought I could change that streak. You made me feel different, but as it turns out, I'm just the same. And I hate you so fucking much for that. His face scrunched up as he dropped his gaze towards the ground, fresh tears dripping from his eyes and hitting the toes of his leather boots. He was utterly shattered from the harshness and absolute validity of your words. No! No! YN, please don't say that. Please, I swear you aren't the same. I swear to God you are so much different, so much better than anyone else. I love you so damn much, and I promise you this was never supposed to happen. It was just a stupid mistake, and it meant absolutely nothing to me. She means absolutely nothing to me. You scoffed, shaking your head. That's the understatement of the century. We're done. Don't ever show your face here again. Those were the last words you had spoken to him before you turned and walked away. He called out for you, but you didn't turn around. You threw your screen door open before slamming it shut behind you, a dam of tears freely flowing down your cheeks. Pivoting on the heels of his black boots, Billy somberly walked to his car, coming to a stop at his door before pounding his fists as hard as he could on the roof of his Camaro. Dents were left in his wake, ones he was positive his dad would beat the shit out of him for. But he couldn't care less. After collecting himself, he threw open his car door and fell into the seat, simultaneously pissed at himself beyond belief and mind-numbingly forlorn. He jammed a heavy metal cassette tape into his radio and turned it up as loud as it would go as he began to sob. He hated the sound of his own crying, drowning it out with music as he ripped down the roads of Hawkins. A cigarette dangled from his lips as he headed anywhere but home, thoughts of you clouding his brain. His dad was right. He was nothing but a fuck-up.